Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ed Berliner. Thanks so much for joining us here on Newsmax and Newsmax.com, our special Super Tuesday coverage. This usually is the hard line. Don't worry. Back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, and also 10 o'clock Eastern Time. The repeat. Make sure you join us. Let's get down to business right here. I'm going to take you right to the brink of either wild victory or what could indeed be looming disaster. Those moments when the polls close, by dealing in a couple of very different aspects of American voters. First of all, she's the morning talker along the Front Range, bouncing off the ears of Colorado listeners from the Big Stick 850 KOA from 1 to 4 Mountain Time every weekday afternoon, self-proclaimed rabble-rouser Mandy Connell. He is one of the people who brought America the Tea Party movement, founder of Tea Party Nation, inspired by Ronald Reagan and unabashedly unapologetic Judson Phillips. I want to thank you both for being here. I'm going to begin right now with something that came over the New York Times wire about 4 minutes ago. A number of major Republican business leaders, Meg Whitman, Todd Ricketts, Paul Singer, among others, took part in a conference call with about 50 people, urging everybody to fund Our Principles PAC. Soliciting funds, it has only got one focus: stopping the rise of Donald Trump. Judson, I'm going to come to you first. This is flat out wealthy people coming out saying, we got to stop him and we got to do it now. Are they too late?
No, they're not too late. But I'll tell you, there's one simple way you stop Donald Trump. Tell Marco Rubio to get out of the race. It's a simple mathematics game. Right now, 75% of Cruz voters, if Cruz dropped out, would go to Trump. 75% of Rubio voters, if Rubio dropped out, would go to Cruz. Rubio has no path to victory here. Cruz does. If you want to stop Donald Trump, tell Marco Rubio drop out of this race and get everybody behind Ted Cruz.
We do need to point out, though, Judson, that you are a Ted Cruz supporter as well, so that is one of the reasons why you likely would like to see Marco Rubio get out. We understand that. Mandy, let me come to you. I didn't mean to start with this, but this is rather interesting news right now. What do you think? You've got people sitting in there saying we got to stop him, and there's people saying that yes, you do have to, and it's not inevitable yet.
I think that they're making a mistake by underestimating the passion of the people who are supporting Trump, and they're underestimating the reason that people are supporting Trump. And to have a concerted effort to undermine Donald Trump and yet not address those issues, the underlying frustration, the anger at the ineptitude of the current GOP leadership, I don't see where this ends well. You know, I don't get me wrong. Every day I get up and Trump is still the front runner. I can't help but think we're being punked. You know, like somebody's going to come up and say, oh, we were just kidding about that. But the reality is people are fired up. They're angry. They're upset. They've projected all of their hopes and dreams onto Donald Trump, right or wrong. And to undermine that without trying to understand it, I think is bad, bad, bad in the long run.
All right, let's try to understand this then, because the big thing that is carrying us right now into Super Tuesday regarding the GOP frontrunner is the controversy about the KKK, statements made, statements that were not made, and David Dukes. Now, David Duke is the guy who's the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. There's been a lot of discussion, people saying that he did not support nor did he endorse Donald Trump. That's what a lot of people are coming back and saying. Here's David Duke on his radio program when he spoke about the importance of voting for Donald Trump, and here's where a lot of that came from.
Voting for these people, voting against Donald Trump at this point is really treason to your heritage. Now, I'm not saying I endorse everything about Trump. In fact, I haven't formally endorsed him, but I do support his candidacy, and I support voting for him as a strategic action. I hope he does everything we hope he will do.
Support his candidacy and support voting for him as a strategic action. Mandy, is it not just prudent at this point? Donald Trump made a mistake. He gaffed on this. If he wants to get this behind him, doesn't he have to come out and just go right at this and say, made a mistake, know him, he's the wrong guy, he's a racist, we got to get away from these people? Yes?
I don't know if you've been watching Donald Trump, but he doesn't apologize. He doesn't walk things back. He doesn't say he was wrong. So I have no expectation of him changing direction now when every other thing he's said that's been controversial has only led to a rise in the polls. What I do find a little ridiculous, Ed, is this running around asking to disavow everyone who may support you or may not support you. I certainly don't remember Democrats disavowing Robert Byrd as he sat in Congress for forever and a day. So the notion that somehow you have to disavow anyone who holds ridiculous, nasty, unpopular opinions, I mean, there's probably a lot of people on both sides of the aisle supporting Hillary, Bernie, Marco, Ted, that hold onerous opinions.
Well, but wait a minute, Mandy,
this
it's
one
a
has
very
become,
good point to make, and I want to make sure to jump. It's a good point to make. Just because somebody says, I'm going to support somebody and I'm going to vote for him, is not an endorsement. Anybody can say it. That's what America's all about. We get that, and we want to make that point very clear. Donald Trump did not go out and say, hey, David Duke, can you give me an endorsement here? He can't control that. But, Judson, let me come to you. Doesn't he need to shut this down? He needs to do a better job of shutting this down, because this could be damaging. Or wait a minute, am I overestimating and it won't damage him at all?
My personal bet is it won't damage him at all. I think the people who are supporting Trump just simply don't care. But Mandy is spot right on two things. Number one, you can't go out and disavow every lunatic who comes out and says, oh, hey, I like Donald Trump.
Indeed.
Or for that matter, any other candidate. She's absolutely right about that. And the other thing I wanted to point out, she nailed it a minute ago when she said this establishment group wants to come out and stop Donald Trump. Well, guess what? If you want to stop Donald Trump and you want to do it with somebody like Mitt Romney or whoever it is, some establishment hack, it's not going to happen. You will literally.
Wait a minute. There it is, Judson. I want to hit that. You used the phrase establishment hack. Isn't that what this is all about? These people doing this right now are seen as big-moneyed establishment hacks. That's the way people are going to see them. This can backfire in their face.
Oh, it's going to backfire. If they stop Donald Trump and Ted Cruz is not the nominee, and yes, we all know I'm a Cruz supporter, but if they stop Trump and Cruz is not the nominee, if they bring somebody in, John Kasich, Jeb Bush, I don't care who it is.
Mitt Romney?
Yeah, Mitt Romney with the establishment nameplate on them, the GOP will blow apart. And by 2020, the GOP would be little more than a third party going somewhere behind the rent is too damn high party.
Mandy, we've heard Mitt Romney. Jesse Ventura said he might get in. Michael Bloomberg said he might get in. Come on. I only got 20 seconds for you, but do you kind of chuckle as much as I do when you hear this?
Well, as a matter of fact, Ed, right now, I would like to announce my candidacy for the President of the United States in 2016. I figure, what the hey? You know, this entire election cycle has been nutso anyway. Why not throw another cuckoo bird into it?
I'm an occasional Coloradoan. I have lived there before. I'll vote for you as well. Real quick, Mandy, 5 seconds. You see any surprises tonight? We lost Mandy, I guess. Judson, do you see any surprises tonight?
I think Cruz does a little bit better than expected. I think Trump does about as expected. That's not going to be a surprise. I think it's a bad night for Marco Rubio, just no matter how you slice it or dice it.
We're going to find out. Probably what happened was the Trump campaign or somebody, the Clinton campaign found out Mandy was running and they hacked her phones. That's exactly what happened. Judson Phillips, Mandy Connell, thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget, join us weekdays at 6 and 10 p.m. Eastern Time for The Hard Line, right here on Newsmax. It is where facts come first and excuses are pablum for the lemmings. Rock on, true believers. Thanks for joining us. Our special Super Tuesday coverage continues right here, right up until midnight Eastern Time. J.D. Hayworth and the crew, stick around. They're going to join you next.